Three teams, one tournament, and a single night in Dallas that changed everything. June 17, 2026, kickoff whistle blows, and within 90 minutes, the story of Group L is rewritten in blood and glory. England 4, Croatia 2. Not a scoreline, a statement. But here's what almost nobody predicted. This wasn't the end of Croatia's tournament. It was the beginning of the most stubborn, most defiant survival act of the entire World Cup. Because 2 weeks later, that same Croatian side, bruised, doubted, written off by every pundit in the business, would be standing in the round of 32, still breathing, still fighting, still wearing the checkerboard with pride. How does a team concede 4 goals in an opener and still find a way through? That's the question we're answering today. And by the time we're done, you'll understand why England, Croatia, and Iran didn't just play in this World Cup, they defined its emotional core. Let's set the stage. Group L was supposed to be simple on paper. England, the pre-tournament favorites from Europe, the side built on Premier League pedigree and a manager determined to finally end 60 years of hurt. Croatia, the perennial overachievers, the nation of 4 million people that somehow keeps producing World Cup finalists and semifinalists like it's manufacturing them on an assembly line. Panama and Ghana, the disruptors, the teams nobody wanted to underestimate after what CONCACAF and African sides have done to the old order in recent tournaments. Then there's Iran, dropped into Group F alongside Belgium, Egypt, and New Zealand, a group that looked at first glance entirely winnable for a team that had spent years building defensive discipline as its calling card. What nobody accounted for was just how tight, how nervy, how genuinely dramatic all 3 of these campaigns would become. Let's start with England. Harry Kane, still chasing the one trophy that has eluded him his entire career, walked into that Croatia match and delivered. 4 goals conceded by Croatia isn't just a defensive footnote, it's a signal that England's front line, drilled under a manager who has spent years fine-tuning a possession-based, positionally fluid attacking system, had found its rhythm at exactly the right moment. This wasn't the nervous, cautious England of tournaments past. This was a team playing with the freedom of players who trust the structure around them. But football has a way of punishing overconfidence. England followed that emphatic win with back-to-back draws, 0-0 with Ghana, a stalemate that exposed just how difficult it is to break down a low block when the opposition parks 9 men behind the ball. 2-0 over Panama steadied the ship, and England topped Group L. Job done, box ticked. Except knockout football doesn't care about your group stage form. It resets everything.
Now, Croatia. This is where the real story lives. After that 4-2 mauling, most teams fold. Croatia didn't. They ground out a 1-0 win over Panama, then delivered the performance of their group stage against Ghana, a match that had Group L's second qualifying spot hanging by a thread. Peter Sucic, the young midfielder increasingly being talked about as Luka Modric's long-term successor, blasted Croatia ahead with a strike from range that had power and technique that belied his experience at this level. Ghana pushed back. Carlos Queiroz, never a manager to sit passively, threw attacking substitutions at the problem at halftime. Croatia weathered it. Then, in the moment that defined their entire tournament, Luka Modric, 40 years old, still the heartbeat of this side, still dictating tempo like a man half his age, swung in a corner that Nikola Vlasic powered home. Croatia through, Ghana eliminated. And somewhere in that stadium, you could feel 4 million people back home exhaling at once. This is the story that makes Croatia impossible not to love, a nation with a population smaller than most major cities, producing a golden generation that refuses to end, refuses to fade, refuses to accept that their time is up. Modric, at 40, is still doing what he did at 25, seeing the pass before anyone else on the pitch even recognizes the option exists. Iran's story runs on a different frequency entirely, one built on resilience rather than firepower. Draw with New Zealand, draw with Belgium, a genuine European heavyweight, draw with Egypt, 3 matches, 3 stalemates, and a defensive record that speaks to a team built with absolute clarity of purpose. This is a side that knows exactly what it is: disciplined, compact, difficult to break down, and dangerous on the counter through Mehdi Taremi, whose movement and finishing ability make him one of the most underrated attacking threats outside Europe's traditional powers. Taremi thought he'd broken the deadlock against Belgium with a beautifully worked free kick routine, the kind of rehearsed, clever set piece that echoes Wout Weghorst's famous stoppage time strike for the Netherlands back in Qatar 2022, only for VAR to rule it out for the narrowest of offside margins. Millimeters. That's the difference between euphoria and heartbreak at this level. Now let's talk implications, because this is where the tournament narrative sharpens into something genuinely gripping. England's path through the knockouts sent them to face DR Congo in the round of 32, a match that could have gone very differently. Kane was through on goal, rounded the keeper, appeared to go down under contact from goalkeeper Lionel Messi. No penalty given. VAR upheld it. England won 2-1 anyway. But the margins were razor thin, and they know it. Their reward? A round of 16 date with the United States, one of the co-hosts, playing in front of what will be an electric, partisan American crowd.
Croatia's reward for surviving Group L was Portugal, and this is where their remarkable run finally met its match. 2-1 to Portugal in the round of 32. Croatia pushed, they fought, they gave everything that had carried them through an opening match humiliation into the knockout stages. But this time, there was no late Modric masterclass to save them. It's a cruel way for a Golden Generations campaign to end, but even in defeat, the story of this Croatia side deserves to be told. A team that refused to accept an early exit was written in the script after that opening night in Dallas. Iran, meanwhile, fell agonizingly short of the knockout stage altogether. 3 draws sound respectable, but in a World Cup group with this level of competition, points that don't convert to wins eventually catch up with you. They were eliminated on goal difference and results elsewhere, a bitter pill after showing genuine tactical discipline against 3 quality opponents. But make no mistake, a side that draws with Belgium and Egypt while conceding almost nothing has built something that Iranian football can carry forward. Now think about the emotional weight sitting inside these stadiums. Picture Dallas, opening night, the noise when England's 4th goal went in, pure release after decades of tournament disappointment. Picture the away end in Toronto when Vlasic's header hit the net against Ghana, grown men in checkered shirts embracing strangers because that goal wasn't just 3 points, it was survival. Picture the quieter, tenser atmosphere around Iran's matches, where every point felt like it mattered more than the scoreline suggested, where a nation watched, hoping this generation could finally break through. This is what makes the World Cup different from every other competition on Earth. It's not just about the best team winning. It's about redemption arcs, about aging legends refusing to let the sun set, about disciplined underdogs punching above their weight, about strikers robbed by millimeters of offside. Every single one of these threads is still pure football. No politics required because the game itself provides all the drama anyone could ask for. So, where does this leave us? England march on toward the United States in the round of 16, carrying the weight of expectation and the knowledge that their knockout form has been far shakier than their group stage suggested. Croatia's remarkable, defiant campaign has ended, but it leaves behind a template for how you respond to disaster. You don't fold, you rebuild, match by match, until the wheels finally come off against a side playing at the very top of its game. And Iran head home with their heads held high, a defensive identity intact, and a generation of players who now know exactly what it takes to compete at this level. 3 teams, 3 completely different stories, one tournament that keeps reminding us why we fall in love with this game every 4 years. So, here's what I want to know from you. Can England's attack find the same ruthlessness they showed against Croatia when they faced the USMNT on home soil? Was Croatia's Golden Generations' final World Cup run against Portugal the last we'll see of Modric on this stage? And did Iran's disciplined defensive approach deserve more than early elimination? Drop your thoughts below. This tournament is only getting started, and the next round of matches will decide who gets to keep writing their story.